something that I just saw online. It has to do with an image that I saw of a rapper and a tech billionaire, and it was comparing the rapper Quavo of the Migos to Jeff Bezos, the guy who's worth $200 billion. And I just thought it was a really interesting comparison. And I wondered, was this comparison racist or was it accurate? So I'm going to break down what I'm seeing in this comparison, and we're going to talk more deeply about economic culture and what it means when we say for the culture and what this means for young black men and whether or not it even makes sense to compare a 31-year-old rapper to a 58-year-old billionaire. So get comfortable, buckle up a seatbelt. We're going to get started on the Black Financial Channel and drvoicetv.com right now.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to drvoicetv.com, the home for intelligent black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I am up late tonight. You may be watching the recording, but I am up because I was thinking about some stuff. You know, there's a nice lady that I know out in Hollywood who's a great actress by the name of Tiara KJ Williams, aka Miss Black Hollywood. And she shared an image that really got me out of bed, that really got me thinking, that made me say, the good Lord came to my brain and said, you know, you should probably talk about this to kind of flesh out some of your thoughts, because I don't think this is a simple question with a simple answer. But anyway, I'm going to explain this to you in a second. But first of all, I want to welcome everybody. How you doing, everybody, on Instagram? I bet a lot of you are probably from over in England. I know that in London, you guys are awake and starting your day. But some of you in the United States are still in the bed. But I definitely like to talk to you whenever the universe tells me to do that. And so Carlton Way, how you doing? Iron Will, Marlon D. Williams, Sizzla, how you doing? That dude strong. Good to see you. Shout out the city. Let me know what city you're coming from. Tell me what city you're coming from. Also, if you're on Instagram, I want to say hi to everybody on Instagram. My Instagram is The Real Boyce Watkins. And let's see, who do I see on Instagram? I can't really see. There we go. Beauty3434. Good to see you, sister. Jazz the Pretty Plug. Oh, yeah, Jazz. I met you. I remember you, girl, because I met you at the FraserNet conference, and you were super smart and super talented and had high energy. And you're going to be successful because you bring great energy into every situation that you're in. And that's one of the keys to success. It took me a long time to figure that out, but that's really true. So anyway, Noble Buchanan, how you doing? All right, so let me show y'all a picture. And if you're on Instagram, you won't see the picture when I put it up, but you can see it if you scroll down my Instagram page. My Instagram is The Real Boyce Watkins if you want real conversations about, real topics. And so here's this image, right? So I'm going to pop it up on the screen, and I want to ask y'all a question. Give me a yes or no. Everybody answer. Is this image racist? Is this image racist? Now, the image, to describe it to you in case you can't see it, in case you're listening on Spotify, which, by the way, if you look up Dr. Boyce Breakdown, you can find this on Spotify or Apple. This is an image of the rapper Quavo from the Migos. There's a group called the Migos. They're pretty popular. And he's about 31 years old, and that's Jeff Bezos, the tech CEO, tech billionaire of Amazon. He's worth about $200 billion. And it says at the top, it says the goal is to be rich, not look rich. And this is from a platform called Hip Hopville. I don't know the guys over there. I just saw it. And Tiara KJ Williams showed me that image and put it up on the screen. And it kind of, made me think, right? Because there was a little bit of a debate. Like, wait a minute, this is not a fair comparison. This is ridiculous. And if you can't see the image, if you're on Instagram, you can't see it because you got to scroll down the page. I can't actually put images up on Instagram. So if you want to see the image or what I put on my screen, just go to drvoicetv.com. The link is in the bio, and you can find my podcast there. All right. So give me a yes or no. How many of y'all thought it was racist? How many of y'all thought it was not? Let's see. Darren says no, it's not racist. Let's see. Evil Tracy says coming from the enemy. Yes. Okay. So it depends on who it comes from, right? So maybe in your mind, and I'm really acknowledging all the points of view and the perspectives here because I'm shaping my own point of view. I am not a person who has a concrete perspective on this, but at the same time, I think it's important to have these conversations because as a community, I think we have to flesh things out. I think as a people, we've got to figure out where we are, who we want to be, why we aren't what we want to be, where we're trying to go. Okay, Marlon says yes, Princess and Coffee says no. Okay, that's what I kind of thought. I thought it would be kind of like mixed down the road. And so what I want to do is kind of lay out a framework. I wrote a little article about it, just to kind of share some thoughts on that. But I want to make sure we do it in a way where we're not putting white people on a pedestal, right? I think it's very important that we have this conversation where we're not saying, be like the white man. That's how you become successful, boy. You got to be like the white man. That was something I grew up on, and that's just not true, right? We know that white people are can be screwed up in their own way, and it's up to them to figure out how they can be better people. It's up to us to figure out how we can be better people. And the same way he doesn't really think about me on a daily basis, I don't really think much about him. I think about us. And I want all of us to do better and to be smarter and or be whoever we want to be, whatever that means. So let me give you some context on this. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe if you haven't done it yet. And also don't forget, if you look up Dr. Boyce Breakdown on Spotify, you can find this podcast there too if you want to listen while you're in your car or something like that. All right, so here's the deal. All right, so the first guy, in case you don't know who he is, his name is Quavo. He's from this group called the Migos. Quavo is about 31 years old. I believe he was born in 1991. Quavo has sold, the Migos, they sell lots of records. They're far more famous than people like me. They're some would say that they're good artists because they sell records. Some would say they suck because there's a question about whether or not they represent the true essence of hip hop. In fact, I dare you to put those guys on a radio show and ask them to freestyle. They would rather be shot in the head than to actually try to freestyle because they can't do it, right? They're not rappers in that traditional sense. But then again, they sell records. So some would say that selling records and making money is validation of your talent. Some would debate that point, right? I would debate the point a little bit because as an expert on money, one of the things I've always reminded you guys is that all money ain't good money. And just because a white man is paying you money, sometimes he might be paying you money to be a buffoon. He'll pay you money to lead the circus too. He'll pay you money to put on a dress. He'll pay you money as a black man to act like a fool. He'll pay you money as a black man to destroy your community or embarrass yourself. So don't think that getting money from white folks means that you're a successful black person. We got to stop that. Stop thinking that success just is measured by the size of your bank account. Because when you do that, then what you're doing is you're opening yourself up to mass amounts of ridiculous behavior, all for the sake of money. Think about it. If I tell my daughter, hey, babe, the only way you can measure your success is by how much money you have. And I got beautiful daughters because their mama is the prettiest thing I've ever seen. And so my daughters are gorgeous. I see how the boys look at him. We got a son too, and he's 6'6" and real handsome. And so the girls are all like, So if I told my girls, if I said, baby, the number one measure of your success is how much money you got. If you got a Gucci bag and you got Prada, in your car, and you driving a Benz and you looking good and fly because you got jewelry on, that is the only measure of success. Not what's in your brain, not what's in your soul, not how you treat other people, not whether you enjoy what you're doing, not whether or not you're helping the community. Your only measure of success is how much money you have, how many M's you got in your bank account, how many bands you got in your purse. Do you understand the flaw of that logic? Do you understand? Because that's an easy equation to solve. I'm a mathematician. We solve equations. If my goal is to simply optimize my life, if maximizing my life simply means getting as much money as I can get, then there's a lot of ways for, especially a pretty girl, to make money, without, you ain't even got to go to work. You just got to go to twerk. You don't go to work, you go to twerk. If I was a young lady just trying to have as much money as I can have, I wouldn't get to working. I would get to twerking, because twerking, twerk in front of a baller. And next thing you know, you got all the money that you want. You get on your knees for him. You do whatever whatever he tells you to do. And next thing you know, you got more money than the other lady, the librarian down the street, who decided that she wants to, save herself for the right man and all this other stuff, all this other lame stuff, like being virtuous and really protecting your body and caring about your body. All that stuff is old fashioned, right? Your body, your choice. You just give it up to anybody. But how you gonna tell me about your body being your choice when you don't value your body? When you think that selling your body to make money is a good way to make money, well, then you and I are not the same. I don't believe that. I don't believe all money is good money. So that's the important point that you have to make here to kind of preface this conversation. Because when you talk about this comparison between Bezos and Quavo, first of all, it's a terrible comparison, right? It's just really, it's not accurate. It's not a good one. It's I get it. I get it. I get what they're saying. They're saying, that being flashy and blinging and having the jewelry and all that don't mean nothing in terms of wealth. It doesn't even mean you have any money. Like, just, it's easy to pretend to be wealthy by looking well, to get a bunch of fake jewelry and whatever. And then next thing you know, people think you're rich. Or even if it's real jewelry, people think you're rich, but they don't realize that you could be broke because you spent all your money on jewelry. Or they don't realize how many rappers have actually been sued by jewelers because they got so much jewelry that they could not pay the bill. This has happened in many, many occasions. And I never understood it. I said, what is going on in that culture that's making people think that in order for you to be legitimate as an artist, you've got to go and blow your whole entire check on a bunch of jewelry? Like, I get it. I got jewelry. I got a wedding band, and it was not cheap. My wife's wasn't cheap either. I have this necklace. It's a lion, and this is real gold. It costs a few $1,000s, right? So jewelry is cool. My watch ain't that expensive, but so jewelry is okay. Jewelry is not the issue. The issue is as Dr. Claude Anderson would describe it in the book Black Labor, White Wealth. The issue is the buffoonery. The issue is the outrageousness. The issue is that in order for you to get that man's money, he needs you to be a clown. Clowns engage in exaggerated behavior. Clowns have big old gigantic paws. Clowns will have big old shoes that are like 18 inches long, right? Clowns look like a big hair, big makeup, right? So to some extent, unfortunately, when you let somebody convince you that in order to be a legitimate artist, you can't not have one chain, you got to have 20. Not one Bentley, you got to have 46 or whatever. Not one woman, you got to have 12 or whatever it is that the artists think they have to do. They're really telling you to act like a clown. Not one or two or three tastefully presented tattoos. You got to have tattoos all up and down your face, all up and down your neck, all up and down your body, on both your left and your right arms, and up and down your legs, right? Like you must do these things in order for you to stand out in a rat race, crabs in a barrel situation they put you in, where you're competing against every other outrageous Negro within a 100-mile radius, right? Do you understand? They got thousands of these poor little black boys all growing up, not thinking, okay, I want to go work for NASA, not thinking I want to go become an attorney, not thinking I want to grow up and I want to become a millionaire entrepreneur. They're thinking, I want to be the next Quavo. I want to be the next Quavo, even though 9,999 of us out of 10,000 are not going to make it. We're all trying to be the next Quavo. So we have to outdo each other because we're playing a game of musical chairs where there's 10,000 people fighting for one chair. Right. So do you understand what I'm saying? Give me a yes in the chat if you get what I'm saying. Give me a yes in the chat if you follow what I'm saying. So the more outrageous you are, the more gangster you are, the more ridiculous you are, or in terms of your behavior and your attitudes and actions, the more likely you are to get some attention. And attention is the only thing that these guys unfortunately know how to seek out, because nobody really taught them anything else, or they never took the time to learn anything else. All right. So to speak on Quavo, I'm going to say this first and foremost. I don't think the comparison's fair, because I think that this poor guy's doing his best. He's 31 years old. He's not a tech billionaire. He's a rapper. He's a rapper that was raised in a culture where, unfortunately, some of these young guys just really think that certain behavior is cool and interesting and all that, when it's really the type of stuff that guys like me understand. This stuff gets you sent to prison for 60 years. That's why you got down in Atlanta, you got a lot of rappers facing these RICO charges, organized crime, which carry very serious consequences. In fact, I saw where Quavo did a concert on a college campus where he was arrested for possession of a controlled substance. He had weed, but something else. I don't know what the other thing was, and also weapons. And this is predictable. This happens all throughout hip hop. And this is the thing that you have to be concerned about with hip hop, is that what's happened is not, and this is not Quavo's fault. It's really a matter of having a racist media in America that will elevate and highlight the most ignorant among you and will hide away the most intelligent among you, because intelligent black men are militant. There's nothing militant about a black man who fulfills a stereotype. There's nothing militant about a black man who who carries a bunch of dope, stays high and drunk all the time. Ain't nobody scared of a drug addict or an alcoholic. You're not a threat to white supremacy. There's nothing militant about a black man who doesn't want to read and can't spell his mama's name or promotes ignorance. There's nothing militant or revolutionary about a black man who hates black women. Everybody hates black women. There's nothing militant or revolutionary about a black man who's anti-family. They don't want you to have families. There's nothing militant about a black man who gives all his money to white people. That's what they want you to do. That's why they integrated you, so they can get all your bread. There's nothing interesting or militant or powerful about a black man who's throwing his whole life away because they didn't want you to be born in the first place. That's one of the reasons why you can think what you want about the abortion debate, but I don't think it's a coincidence they put those Planned Parenthoods near the black neighborhood and convince black women that aborting your babies is the best way for you to go. I'm not dissing you. I'm not making fun of you if you've gotten an abortion. This is not a political conversation in that regard, but I really think that there is a plan to make sure that your little black boy never gets a chance to live. Just like they told my 17-year-old mama, if you just get rid of him, your life will be better. When I went to South Africa, I kid you not, I went through a black neighborhood and I saw advertisements for the procedure. We'll call it the procedure. I'm not going to use the A word anymore because they'll start shadow banning you for saying stuff like that. That's not consistent with what white liberals want you to believe. But I literally saw literally 3,000 ads all in one street, all telling young black women to go and just get rid of their babies, right? And again, I'm not judging. I'm just saying that there's a plan to make sure the black man is never born, never competitive. He's never so to make sure he's never educated. He never understands the system that he's in. He never has any true access to wealth and power. He's never committed or tied into a family, or he never gains a military mindset that allows him to fight back against the oppressors that come into his community and do whatever they want with the women and the children. Okay. So anyway, with that being said, let me move on. Do me a favor. Thumbs up, share, subscribe. I'd like to remind you guys, I have to remind you on a regular basis, just for your own protection, that there are people out there that are pretending to be me, I guess because I'm a financial influencer, whatever that is. So there are people that have fake Facebook pages that look like me. They have my wife's picture on it and everything else. And they ask you to inbox them to get invested with them on crypto or whatever. And I don't want you to get taken by that scam. If you see a fake Facebook page or a fake Instagram profile that hit you up in your inbox or whatever, just report that profile if you can, to get these people off the internet, or at least make sure they don't take you. They're really good. Apparently they've taken people for a lot of money, and I don't want that to happen to you. Okay. So hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. All right. So let's just be clear. Quavo from the Migos is doing his best. The racism behind the image or the comparison is not accurate. And it's not even fair to put all this weight on him to become, whatever Jeff Bezos is. Now, but here's where I'm going to jump in and really kind of help you understand the nuance of that image, though, and why you can learn something from that image. So I'm going to start with this picture. So remember, Quavo is 31 years old. Bezos is 58. So they're 27 years apart. So the best way to compare Quavo and Jeff Bezos is to look at what Jeff Bezos looked like when he was Quavo's age. Okay, you get what I'm saying? So here's an image right here. Now, if you're on Instagram, you won't see this, but it's a picture of Jeff Bezos at approximately Quavo's age, and he's got a big stack of books on his left arm and a big stack of books under his right arm, right? So at this point, Jeff Bezos is not a billionaire. He may not even be a millionaire. His company's struggling. The Amazon, for all we know at this point, in the 1990s could have easily gone bankrupt. But he is committed to books. He wants to sell books online. He wants to build a business. He's working 12 hours a day to create this company that's eventually going to create hundreds of thousands, if not millions of jobs. So when I look at that and I compare that to another image that I see here, and this is if you want to see the images, by the way, just go to drboystv.com or hit the link in the bio. You can join us. This is another image of a Sprite commercial that the Migos did that really concerned me when I saw this commercial. And it reminded me of something Malcolm X talked about. So if you look in this commercial, you can see that this is an image of the Migos, 3 grown men, late 20s at that time, who are all riding what appear to be tricycles or big wheels or something like that, right? And I remember I saw this and I said, what in the hell is a grown-ass man doing on a big wheel? Like I rode big wheels and tricycles. How many of y'all, give me a yes or no, how many of y'all stopped riding tricycles when you were like 7? I got, by the time I wasn't even, when I was 7, I had a bike. I didn't even have a tricycle. No, give me yes. I mean, how many of y'all? I don't even think I was. I think that when I was in the first grade, I wasn't riding tricycles no more or big wheels anymore. I was too big for a big wheel in the first grade. So why are these grown black men on TV riding tricycles that were built for 4-year-old children? Now you might say, "Oh boy, she being too serious, Doc. That's too serious." Man, do you understand how hard America works to keep the black man as a little boy? Do you understand what Malcolm told you? Malcolm X told you this a long time ago. He said the worst fear of America is when the black man truly becomes a man. When the black man is truly masculine, when the black man is trying to protect his territory, because masculine, strong, intelligent men become territorial. The masculine men say, no, you can't come up in here and wreak havoc on my community. I'm going to fight you back. The masculine men will fight and defend a woman and children in the community. Little boys don't do that. Little boys go and they go and hide with the women. So some of the women are more masculine than a lot of the men. So you cannot disconnect this image of grown-ass men on a tricycle from the fact that a lot of y'all women out here right now are on the dating scene and you're meeting a lot of grown-ass men who might as well be riding tricycles. They ain't never learned nothing about being a man. They've never learned anything about responsibility. They've never learned anything about accountability. They've never learned anything about disciplined behavior. They've never learned anything about strategic planning. So what happens? Well, a man like that, what does he do? First of all, he's going to stack up about 7 to 8 babies mamas like the rapper Future, who they heavily promote to young black men as manhood, which it's not. They end up blowing all their money because they don't have the discipline to save or invest or even have a plan for that's financial on any level. Right? They end up as drug addicts and alcoholics. So they get about 35 years old and their own damn kids won't even talk to them because every time they needed a daddy that they can count on, daddy was passed out in the front yard because he'd been drinking too much or running around too busy whoring and chasing the dope that he wasn't actually trying to be a father. I mean, this is real. This is real. Give me a guess if you understand what I'm saying. It's a hard conversation because people think you're being a hater. I love rappers. I have a lot of rapper friends, and I've had rapper friends. I love Killer Mike. Killer Mike's my buddy, and Killer Mike said he said, Doc, he said you got to be careful, man. We don't want the rappers to think you hate rappers. I said, well, what makes you think I hate the rappers? I love rappers. I love rap. Rap is great. I just don't like stupidity. I don't like losing. I don't like being in last place. I don't like having the white man's foot on my neck because I didn't prepare for battle. I don't like going out into a community where I'm looking around at all these brilliant young people with so much potential being destroyed at an early age because you're allowing them to promote the absolute worst toxicity known to man in your community. And it's not that you just acknowledge it, you actually celebrate it. It's not, see, there's allowing it, there's acknowledging it, and then there's actually celebrating it. So you allow it, you acknowledge it, and then you celebrate it. You say that's a black leader, that's a successful black man. The Democrats are running for office, and next thing you know, they got the Migos, and this is a true story. They have the Migos say, everybody show up and vote, y'all. Everybody show up and vote, y'all, because you're looking up to these guys as the leaders of your community, and then you wonder why your families fail. Ain't no family in the history of this planet ever been led by a man who was a drug addict and an alcoholic, who blew all his money, hated black women, went around committing crimes so he could go to prison and trying to kill his own brother. Ain't no solid family ever been led by a man like that ever. Men like that create trauma for their children. They create trauma for their wives. They disrupt the community. They might as well be members of the Ku Klux Klan because they cannot. Because the Klan can't do that much damage. The Klan can't do as much damage to the soul and the mind of a young black child as a toxic hip hop artist. If a Klansman says, go out, I want y'all to go out and get high and drunk as much as possible so your brain cells will die. I want you to go out and I want you to kill each other as quick as possible so that I don't have to do it. I want you to go out. I want you to really make sure you hate your women so you can't reproduce properly. And I want you to go out and give me all your money after you're done with all that. If a Klansman, if a white man said that, would black people listen? What do y'all think? Do you think black people would take a message like that if it came from David Duke or from Donald Trump or from some racist white man? Do you think that we would accept that message? What do y'all think? What do y'all think? No, it wouldn't. We wouldn't accept it, right? But we will accept it when it comes from a hip hop artist because you're like, oh, he looks like me. He's lit, yo. He got a $10 million contract, yo. He got jewelry on, dog. He looking fly. All the ladies want to be with him, man. And next thing you know, you're taking in the same toxicity that even a Klansman couldn't deliver to you. Why? Well, because the poison tastes better when you put sugar on it. The poison tastes better when you put it on a nice beat. You put it on a nice beat, it sinks right into your subconscious, so you don't even know what's there. Next thing you know, you get millions of kids who are imitating rappers, dressing like the rappers, getting the same tattoos, living the same lifestyles of rappers, copying the behavior of the rappers, and they swear up and down that they're not copying anybody. They swear up and down that these are original thoughts and original ideas, and I'm sitting here looking at you, and I'm like, man, you're literally repeating exactly what your favorite artist was saying on the BET Awards. Like, you do understand that you're not original. You're copying them the same way my father's generation used to copy the pimps, and when they started putting out blaxploitation movies. Anybody remember that? When they started making movies, they started putting movies out about black men being pimps and pimping hoes and disrespecting women and whatever. And next thing you know, that becomes part of the black male culture. Black men start to take on that persona. Right. So anyway, let me move on. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. And also just a reminder, don't forget that if you want to come to we have an event in the Black Business School on Tuesday night. Basically, the title of the event, it's a little training I want to do for students in the Black Business School, and it's called How to Become a Millionaire by Investing 5 Minutes a Month. This is based on things I learned in my PhD program that will put you on track to develop millionaire status within one generation within your family. This is mathematically solid. I'm not making this up. This is not stuff I'm just arm waving on. This is real, actual, proven mathematical financial theory. This is what I know. This is what I do. Go check my record. And so this is something we're going to do Tuesday night at 8 p.m. If you go to, if you want, you could pay a fee to join if you want to, but actually you can join for free if you do a free membership in the Black Business School, and you get free access to my life class and free access to Powernomics training that we do every Wednesday. Just go to blackkeystogreatness.com and all that's free. So just sign up at blackkeystogreatness.com. I will send you the invitation to join us Tuesday night, and I guarantee you're going to learn something that night. So feel free to join us then. All right. So let's start. Let's go back to our premise. Let's hit the quick reset button. So for those who just got here. So what I was referring to was an image shared with me to me by Tierra KJ Williams, aka Miss Black Hollywood. She's a good friend of mine. We've been friends for about 10 years. And it was an image that basically says that your goal is to be rich, not look rich. And the challenge with the image that a lot of people had, which I agree with, is that you're comparing Quavo, a 31-year-old black man, to Jeff Bezos, a 58-year-old white man. I don't like the black-white comparison. I don't like the old-young comparison. Bezos has had a lot more years on this earth than Quavo, and I think that's an important thing to say, to mention. Also, Quavo should not, in my view, or any rapper really for that matter, should have that pressure on them to actually have to compete at the level of a Jeff Bezos. That's really, really hard to do. But here's what I would say. I would say a more accurate comparison might be Quavo and Jay-Z. Right. I would say that Jay-Z, to some extent, at least among hip hop artists, has done a reasonably decent job of at least trying to grow up a little bit in a space where black men are not encouraged to grow up. They're encouraged to remain as children. He married his wife, Beyonce. They did it not just for emotional reasons, but it was a very good strategic partnership. Since that time, the two of them have become very well respected within the industry. And I think that's great. Now, here's the thing. Even Jay-Z and Beyonce, though, don't represent the best that your community has to offer. Remember Jay-Z, if Jay-Z were on a Jeff Bezos kind of level, even in mindset, you got to remember, make a simple comparison. Jeff Bezos has created over 1 million jobs for mostly white people. Amazon employs, let me see here. Let me look this up. Let me see how many employees does Amazon have? Amazon currently has 1.1 million employees. They employ 1.1 million people. Most of those people are white. And so I would dare you, I would challenge anyone in here to find me any rapper who's created even 10,000 jobs, even 10,000. Now, mind you, 10,000 that's not even 1% of 1.1 million. Let me see. A million, 10% of a million is 100,000. Yeah, that's about 1%. 1%. So you don't have to do what Bezos did. But you just do 1% of that. Show me one rapper who's done 1% of what Bezos has done. You probably can't find that guy, right? If Jay-Z, in my view, I'm not disrespecting Jay-Z at all, because I told you I think I like a lot of what he does. But if he were even on any level in terms of moving the needle of the community forward, then I should be able to go back to Marcy Projects and find 10,000 people who are economically better off because of Jay's success. And unfortunately, you can't find that. But that's not necessarily Jay's fault either, because it's again, it's a function of a lot of factors. One, the mindset that we promote in the community. A lot of our success is not measured based on how well the people around us are doing. It's measured based on how we're doing. It's very individualistic, that rugged individualism. I'm going to take care of me and mine and screw everybody else. And then all I'll do is I'll make songs about how rich I am versus how poor you are, right? But the second piece of that too is in terms of who is promoted, who do we elevate? Who do we elevate and celebrate? Because I'm gonna tell you, when I was down at the Power Networking Conference not too long ago with George Frazier's event, I met a young brother who was in his 20s by the name of Paris Dean. Paris Dean, I believe he was about 25 years old, and he developed an artificial intelligence real estate app that literally did over $100 million in transactions in a 48-hour period. I thought that was very impressive. And I would just argue that for us in general, the goal is to make sure it's not to so much necessarily expect more from the rappers. I don't know what they can do or what they're willing to do. It's really to say, how do we change the world where we're not living in a world where our most ignorant and destructive people are being promoted first, and our most intelligent and productive people are being promoted last. A black man that is thinking about the community, that's thinking about family, that's thinking about legacy, thinking about building, that will pick up a book before he picks up a blunt, in the eyes of some is seen as lame, right? If you want to go and spend time building and working and studying and learning and growing versus going out thugging and smoking and drinking and whatever the hell else people do, then that's kind of seen as lame by some people. And that comes from media. Media promotes the images of the black man that are the most destructive to the black man and to the black community. So really what I would say to you is, overall, we've got to really confront these toxic images and really look at where they come from. The toxicity comes from the fact that the music industry and these record labels in general have made billions of dollars by throwing black men out there that ain't doing nothing good for nobody, even themselves. And even I see somebody mention Sean Diddy Combs. Sean is iffy. Sean I wouldn't necessarily look at Sean as a guy that's really moved the needle forward for the black community. He's been very intelligent in terms of how he's conducted his career. He shows up every election to tell black people to vote for the Democrats, but doesn't necessarily explain what we're voting for. I'm not here to necessarily say Sean is bad or good. I'm just here to say Sean is a non-entity when it comes to the liberation of the black community. There's nothing about his achievements, in my view, that has really elevated the thinking and the success and the achievement level of the black male in America. I'm not saying that he should be able to do that. Don't get me wrong. Maybe he just can't. But what I'm saying is that though there are those out there who could, if they had the same support as the rappers. Do you understand? And one of the reasons I'll give a guy like Ice Cube credit in his maturity, because Ice Cube wasn't always who he is right now. He had to grow into the guy that he's. I give Ice Cube credit because Ice Cube understood the game to a point where he understood, look, I know that because I'm a rapper, I'm going to get promoted by white people. I know white people are going to throw me out there because he's always had the mean, tough guy, gangster image that white people love to see. They love to see black men behaving in a way that fits the stereotype so they can find an excuse to throw your black ass in prison. But at the same time, what I thought was really intelligent of him was that he said, I'm gonna be the person that blasts the message out, but I'm gonna go and strategically partner with the black men that need to be heard, that aren't being heard, the black men who are being suppressed and oppressed, their ideas. So you have a guy like a Dr. Claude Anderson, who wrote the book Powernomics, who is a solution provider for the black community, who talks about power plays for the black community. Well, Dr. Anderson, there's a reason why white folks don't want to hear from a guy like that, because this idea of black people becoming truly equal and truly competitive is a very militant idea. It is a very frightening concept to have a black man explaining to black people how we can compete toe to toe, eye to eye with everybody else in the world, and to actually obtain strategic advantages that will benefit our children. That's a scary idea. That's why Howard University is right down the street from Dr. Claude Anderson. They'll invite 1 million mediocre white people to come speak on their campus, but they haven't invited Dr. Anderson once. Well, if he is so beneficial to the community and so many people respect his message, why in the world would a so-called HBCU, your so-called ally, not even let him come to the campus and speak? Well, because the idea of black men and black women truly making progress in this country is a very scary, dangerous idea. And they're not going to give that to you. The only thing they're going to give to you are what is called the controlled opposition. They're going to give you these false leaders who go on the radio and say, okay, everybody go out and make sure you vote for Joe Biden, y'all. Or these people that will go out and make you feel good, or these institutions that will train you to go work for white people. They'll give you that all day long because there's nothing threatening about that. The HBCUs are barely hanging on by a thread financially because they're producing employees for big white companies. That's what they do. Employees can't write the kinds of checks that can sustain an institution. You don't have institutional power. All you have is the ability to kind of fit in and scream and holler and get mad when they mistreat you, but you don't really have the power to actually walk away from the mistreatment and develop institutions of your own. So that's one of the reasons why your HBCUs are struggling. Your HBCUs are struggling. In fact, if I was to add up the endowment of every HBCU in America, it would be about 1/50th of the endowment of Harvard. It would be one, the schools like a USC spends more money in a week than most HBCUs will spend in an entire year, right? So ultimately, what you're really looking at is a scenario where there's a huge amount of imbalance in power. And where does it come from? It comes from the fact that if I go to Harvard or Yale, they're not just producing employees that can go serve another community. They're producing captains of industry. They're producing future billionaires who can come back and write a $200 million check to build a facility on campus, or to build a new football stadium, or a new library, or whatever they need. They're producing people that are CEOs of major corporations that are going to be able to come in and use that Death Star of economic power to achieve whatever objective they want to achieve. We're producing employees who can't even come back to the homecoming unless they ask their boss for a day off. A person like that can't write a check for $200 million. They can barely write a check for $200. So when you look at that and you understand that from an economic standpoint in terms of what you are producing, well, it explains to you exactly why HBCUs, unfortunately, they're kind of like on the academic version of a type of welfare. They're literally welfare recipients. They don't have the ability to economically sustain themselves because they're not producing people that are able to economically sustain themselves. This is not a diss on HBCU graduates. I know the homecomings are lit. I know that the bands are the best. I know that you have a lot of fun, and I get all that. I wanted to teach at Howard. I couldn't get actually, it's really funny. I was the only African-American to get a PhD in finance during the year 2002. I was trained by some of the best people in the world. And I interviewed at Howard for a job. I was willing to even take a pay cut to go there. And the reason that it didn't work out was because when I went to interview at Howard, I was literally interviewed by a Chinese man who was deciding whether or not I was qualified to educate African-American youth. And years later, I think about that and I say, I'll be damned. A Chinese man, a man from China who's hiring all his Chinese friends to come to teach at your universities, is literally deciding whether or not I'm qualified to teach my own damn people. And so I want to ask you this: where can I go in China? Tell me this: is there anywhere you think I can go in China where there's an African-American gatekeeper deciding whether or not a Chinese man should be allowed to teach Chinese students? Y'all tell me this. Do y'all see that anywhere? See, what you got to understand is there's something out there in the world called what I would call almost like the Negro rules. The Negro rules are basically things where it applies to you and you are expected to deal with it, but nobody else will do that. Nobody else is willing to give away the power that you're supposed to give away willingly. Nobody else is expected to go out and show up and vote for nothing, but you are. Nobody else is expected to have their institutions run by other people. Oh, but you are. Nobody else is expected to be a slave for other communities and go out and really elevate and support people who are destroying their children. But you are because the rapper's lit. His song is nice, right? So ultimately, what I'm just telling you guys is you got to wake up and smell the damn coffee. Wake up and smell the poison. It ain't even coffee; it's poison coffee. So just that little experience at Howard, really, to me, it's very easy to tell exactly why your HBCUs are struggling, why they can't survive right now. Because you're not producing business owners, you're not producing job creators. You're producing people that are going to go chasing jobs. Okay, so let me read this question from Lord Tark. Lord Tark made a donation. Thank you for your donation. So let's see. So since you made a donation, I'm gonna put you up on the screen. He says, if somebody was promoting the disrespect of women and killings in the community of the people who own those record labels, their community would have risen up and shut it down. Black folks allow it. That's 100% true. And I really think that overall, these conversations I'm having with you at random times at night, and in a way that probably makes people dislike me and think that I hate rappers. That's my little effort to say, okay, am I the only one seeing this? It's my effort to kind of say, are we really going to continue to tolerate this? Because understand this, that your greatest form of wealth in your community is actually your children. So when somebody is destroying your children, then they're destroying your wealth. They're destroying a couple $1 trillion every generation by ruining your kids. They're destroying another couple $1 trillion every generation by ruining your families, because most wealth is tied up in families. They're also taking a couple $1 trillion away from you by simply taking over the education of your kids. When they educate your kids, they educate them to be Eurocentric. So even when they get a little bit of wealth and power, they're not really thinking about trying to go back to the hood and make life better for everybody in the hood and truly create jobs in the hood and industry in the hood. No, they're thinking about whatever that Eurocentric culture taught them while they were at school. So even those that are in a position to actually elevate and support the masses and lift the community up, they're not even thinking like that. They have the biggest gun in the room and they're aiming the gun at their mother's face. Right? It doesn't matter how big your gun is if you're aiming it at the wrong person or if you're shooting it up in the air. You've got to have a big gun and know exactly where to target that, right? So ultimately, what I'm going to say to you is that there's so many slick ways that they keep you enslaved. They keep you enslaved through media. They keep you enslaved through education. Even those of you who think you've escaped the trap, but because you went to college and got a degree, they also keep y'all enslaved because they got you hooked on them student loans. So you can't even make the financial moves you want to make because they convinced you to go borrow $150,000 to go to a white man's university so he could take that money and go gentrify your grandma's neighborhood. Go look at any major white university in America. This is not a diss on anybody that went to college. I went to college too. We all fell for it. A lot of us did. A lot of us still are, right? But go to any major university that's doing well financially. Go check out USC and see what they're doing. Go check out Syracuse University, where I used to teach. Look at what they're doing with the money. Look at the neighborhood around these schools. Many of these neighborhoods used to be black. They used to have lots of black people around them, and slowly but surely they're being gentrified. They're buying up entire city blocks. They're buying up major buildings. They're buying up apartment complexes. People are like, the projects used to be right there. Now it's the medical center. Well, how do you think that happens? Where do you think they're getting the bread to do this? Well, they're getting it from you. Because your black ass has got so much student loan debt that you are in danger of dying in debt. You've given $100,000 of your family wealth to contribute to the gentrification of your own neighborhoods and your own communities. I'm not making fun of you. I'm not telling you that you got to change your too many things about your life. I'm not saying that you are stupid. I'm not saying that at all. A lot of us fall for this, but I'm really sort of helping you understand the complexities of a white supremacist power structure and how subtly it is able to maintain control for the wealthy and the powerful and mostly white people that are at the top of the food chain. So ultimately, anyway, let me just kind of actually before I kind of conclude on this, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. Just a reminder, my podcast is on Spotify. You can look up the Dr. Boyce Breakdown. I'm on Spotify, Apple, all that. Also, don't forget, we're hosting that Tuesday event, Tuesday night at 8 p.m. It's called How to Become a Millionaire in 5 minutes a month. And I explain to you a very simple, straightforward process. I break down some myths on wealth and help you understand how you can actually do whatever you want to do financially. It doesn't take a lot of time. It doesn't take a lot of expertise. It doesn't take a lot of money. It's very easy to do. This is what I do. This is my superpower. Also, I want to mention, don't forget that we have the All Black National Convention happening in Charlotte, North Carolina, October 28th through the 30th. We're going to have a lot of great people there, a lot of really smart black folks there. It's the ultimate gathering of all people in the world who believe in ending the bullshit. Everybody who wants to see our community move forward, and who wants to see us truly independent, who wants to see us restore our families, who believes black men and black women should love each other, then this is the place for you. We have tons of panels on everything from how to invest in crypto to relationships to stock market investing to politics. All this stuff. We even have a spades tournament, speed dating, all kinds of stuff. Just a lot of stuff. It's a lot of fun. It's in Charlotte, North Carolina, October 28th through the 30th. You can go to boycewatkins.com. Just look for the convention and you can find it there. And just speaking of rappers, I want to make sure it's 100% abundantly clear that I do not hate all the rappers. Some of the rappers that come into the convention and do a great job. Killer Mike was there at the first convention. David Banner was at the first convention. D1 came to the last convention. He's a great guy, an excellent artist. Everybody should look him up and support support him. What's another artist that came by that I really, Aquila Nihonda, Jay Ortiz, so many great artists come by. So I want to make it 100% clear that when I talk about this whole thing with Quavo and the black man being sort of positioned as a little boy in the world, I want to make it clear that I'm not talking about all the rappers. I had a 3-hour conversation with a great rapper by the name of Immortal Technique. Immortal Technique, I don't even know his real name. What's Immortal Technique's real name? Let me see. Immortal Technique, his real name is Felipe Andres Coronel. I probably mangled that name, but Immortal Technique, I love this guy because he's super intelligent, and I can tell by your artist and your artistry and your lyrics how smart you are. He's super smart. We had a great conversation about all different kinds of topics, and I want to just make it clear for those rappers that are really trying to do the right thing, I have your back 150%. But I'm sorry for those of y'all that are out here just telling black kids to get hooked on drugs. I cannot be your friend. If you out here telling black people to go kill each other and you bragging about that, you're talking about that like it's a good thing. I cannot be your friend. I cannot support that. If you're out here hating on black women for no reason and just being mean to the women who gave birth to you, I can't support that because I don't believe in the abuse of women. I know all women ain't perfect, but my Lord Jesus, can't you talk about somebody else? Why you got to talk about your mama like that? That don't make no sense to me. If you're out here talking about wasting your money and throwing your wealth away, I have to jump in and correct you because you have to understand that your wealth is declining in your community because you've been trained to give it away. But for those that are really trying to do better, there are so many artists that I think are really representing the best that hip hop has to offer, representing the true genius of that industry, which might be a guy like a Kendrick Lamar. Me and my son listen to Kendrick Lamar because in every song Kendrick Lamar makes, he's trying to give some sort of message that is going to make your life better or reflect some sort of artistic creativity that isn't some sort of repetitive corporate speak, repetitive corporatized language where some corporation told you that you got to go rap about bitches and hoes and thugs and gangsters and killing and drugs and liquor and all this other stuff. Like that's the problem. When you start talking like that, you're not really an artist. You're just a corporate machine. You're a corporate puppet. Some guy's got his hand up your butt and he's telling you what to say. That's not what an artist does. So just be an artist, express yourself, share the experiences that you've had, be honest with the community so that people can actually benefit from your existence and not lose from it. Also, let me warn you guys, I'm looking in the chat and I tried to block him, but there's a fake Boyce Watkins in the chat that's telling people, Dewan McKinney, he just sent you a message saying inbox me. So if anybody sees the fake Boyce Watkinses around that are pretending to be me, that are asking you to inbox them and everything else, please block those accounts, or maybe request a Zoom meeting, a face-to-face Zoom meeting to see if it's me. And I bet you they're not going to do a face-to-face Zoom meeting with you because it's probably somebody that's pretending. All right. So anyway, I'm going to get on out of here, guys. It was fun talking to you. And Roger Marine says you're awesome. Well, you're awesome too. I appreciate you very, very much. And so please have a wonderful day. God bless you. And we'll come back again real soon to have another good conversation. Talk to you guys later. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see.